I never thought I'd swing a crowbar at the door of my own son's apartment, but there I was, heart pounding like a jackhammer in a demolition site, the metal cold and heavy in my calloused hands. Sweat stung my eyes as I reared back and let it fly. Crack. Splinters exploding like fireworks on the 4th of July, the lock giving way with a pathetic snap that echoed down the empty hallway of that godforsaken Chicago high-rise. And right on cue, Mom and Dad's faces appeared in the doorway they'd been about to breach themselves, their eviction notice clutched like a holy grail, eyes bulging in that mix of outrage and betrayal only family can pull off so convincingly. But I was ready. God, was I ready. 20 years of buried rage, a lifetime of their lies, and one final secret I'd clawed out of the grave. It all boiled down to this moment, me standing between them and the last piece of my boy's legacy they hadn't stolen yet. The crowbar clattered to the linoleum floor, rolling like a drunk toward my parents' polished loafers. Dad, ever the pillar of WASP respectability in his Brooks Brothers suit, silver hair slicked back like he was still closing deals on LaSalle Street, stammered first. "Lila? What in God's name? This is illegal. We're his guardians now, and you're trespassing." Mom, sharp as a Ginsu knife even at 68, her pearl necklace glinting under the hallway's buzzing fluorescence, shoved the papers forward like a shield. "Get out of our way, Lila Marie. We've had enough of your hysterics. Tommy's gone, and this place is coming with him. The bank's foreclosing, and we're liquidating everything."
Tommy.
My son. Their grandson. The word hit like a sucker punch from a southpaw in a back alley brawl.
Gone.
Yeah, he was gone. Overdose. Fentanyl-laced pills they swore were just harmless antidepressants from the family doctor. But that was their lie. The first crack in the facade I'd spent decades patching with denial and duty. I stepped over the threshold, boots crunching debris, the apartment's stale air hitting me like a wall. Pizza boxes from the delivery joint on Halstead, unwashed gym clothes from his CrossFit phase, that faint metallic tang of despair nobody talks about in polite Midwestern company. Guardians? Liquidating? You think you can just waltz in here like you're on HGTV's foreclosure flip, huh? This was his home, his fight. And you too? You buried it all under your perfect little suburbia bullshit. Dad's face purpled, veins popping like overpressured hoses. "Watch your mouth, young lady. We're doing this for the family. Foreclosure. You couldn't handle him. Too busy with your dead-end union job, scraping by in that Pilsen walk-up like some welfare queen." Welfare queen. The slur they'd whispered at Thanksgiving dinners, when aunts and uncles pretended not to notice my faded Levi's next to their Lilly Pulitzer prints. But I held my ground, fists clenched, nails biting into palms scarred from years welding rebar at the steel mill. Handle him? I raised him alone after you two shipped me off to that finishing school in Boston to hide your shame. Remember that? The one where I learned to smile through morning sickness. Mom's lips thinned to a razor line. That was a mistake. A youthful indiscretion. We fixed it. Fixed it. That's what they called framing me for Dad's embezzlement from the firm, the one that would have tanked his corner office and their Lake Forest manse. I was 18, pregnant, desperate for a way out of their gilded cage. They handed me a checkbook, said sign here for tuition, and poof, suddenly I was the one facing felony charges, the fall guy in a scheme to cook the books on some shady real estate deals. I took the plea, did 18 months in Cook County, lost the scholarship, the boyfriend who bailed faster than a rat from a sinking yacht. All so Daddy could keep his handshake with the mayor. And Tommy? Born 9 months later in a county clinic that smelled like bleach and broken dreams. I clawed my way back, GED night classes, community college, that union card that meant health insurance and a shot at stability. But every step, they hovered, helping with strings attached. Loans that weren't loans. Advice that was control. And when Tommy spiraled, ADHD meds turning to Adderall, parties in Wicker Park basements, they swooped in as the saviors, cutting me out like I was the junkie enabler. "You fix nothing," I spat, voice low and venomous, the kind that simmers in dive bars after last call. "You just pass the poison down." Tommy found those pills in Dad's medicine cabinet, leftover from his stress after the '97 crash. Oxy, right? The ones you swore were flushed. Mom's eyes flickered, just a microsecond, but I caught it. That tell she'd always had when bluffing at bridge club.
Lies.
You're delusional, Lila. Grief's twisted you.
Grief.
Yeah, that was the polite word for the black hole that swallowed me when I found him last month, slumped on this very couch, track marks like accusation tattoos on his arms. The cops called it accidental. The coroner nodded along. But I knew better. I'd hacked the ring cam footage from the lobby. Dad's Escalade pulling up unannounced that night, Mom's voice sharp on the intercom. Tommy, open up. We need to talk about your mother. They'd come to stage an intervention, they claimed later. But the footage showed more. Dad slipping something into his pocket from the bathroom cabinet, a quick glance around like a shoplifter at Jewel-Osco.
Pills.
The ones that ended up in Tommy's system, mixed with street fentanyl, because why not chase Grandma's vintage stash with the real deal?
I hadn't confronted them then.
No, I waited.
Dug deeper.
Hired a PI on credit, ex-cop from the 18th District who owed me from a mill accident favor. Turns out their fix for me back in '03 wasn't a one-off. Dad's firm had been laundering for the outfit. Old-school mob ties dressed up as venture capital. Tommy stumbled onto emails last year, forwarded them to me in a panic. Mom, they're dirty. What do? I told him to lay low. Protect himself. But he was 22, all fire and no filter, confronting them at a family Easter brunch in Oak Brook. Grandpa, you're a crook.
Kid had balls, I'll give him that.
They laughed it off, sent him home with a check and a warning. Next thing, he's dead. Coincidence? Bullshit. The tox report I bribed from the lab tech showed traces of something extra, not just fent, but a sedative, Rohypnol maybe, the date rape darling of the '90s that Dad's golf buddies still whispered about. Slipped in his drink during that intervention. Accidental overdose, my ass. Now here they were, trying to seize his lease, paid up through the year on my overtime shifts to flip the unit and bury any traces. Nosy neighbors might snoop, find his laptop with those emails. Can't have that tarnishing the family silver. Delusional? I echoed, stepping closer, close enough to smell Mom's Chanel No. 5 mixed with the fierce sweat she denied ever producing. Then let's chat with the super. He saw you two here last week, rifling drawers like it was a Black Friday sale at Neiman Marcus. Dad lunged. Not violent, oh no. He was too refined for that, but grabbing my arm, fingers like vices honed from decades of boardroom squeezes. Enough. We're calling the cops. This ends now. I wrenched free, the motion sending a jolt up my shoulder, old rotator cuff twinge from the mill.
Going.
Tell M how you dosed your own grandson to shut him up about your mob money. Tell M about the safety deposit box in my name, the one with the ledgers Tommy copied before. Their faces, priceless. Mom's pearls seemed to choke her, Dad's jaw unhinging like a stunned bluegill pulled from Lake Michigan. I'd found the box last week, key hidden in Tommy's guitar case, contents of Pandora's trove, falsified deeds, wire transfers to shell companies in the Caymans, even a Polaroid of young Dad shaking hands with a guy who looked like Tony Soprano's accountant. This was it. The fracture. The moment their empire of whispers and white lies cracked wide open. But revenge isn't a crowbar swing, it's the slow rust that follows, eating through steel until the whole damn bridge collapses. I shoved past them into the living room, yanking open the laptop on the coffee table. Screen glowed to life. Password Lila rules, his little joke. Files queued up, ready to email to the Sun-Times tip line, the U.S. Attorney's Office, hell, even that podcaster who did the Windy City Whispers series. Stop her. Mom hissed, but Dad was frozen, calculating odds like a poker pro spotting a bluff. Too late. Send button clicked. The digital die cast. But as the progress bar filled, a shadow crossed the window, headlights sweeping the blinds. Not cops. A black SUV, tinted windows, idling like a predator in the alley below. The outfit? Or just my paranoia? Amped up on Red Bull and righteous fury? Either way, the game's just starting. And this time, I'm not the patsy. The email whooshed off into the ether, a ghost in the machine that could topple dynasties or just fizzle like a dud firecracker on New Year's Eve. I slammed the laptop shut, spinning to face them, my breath ragged in the stuffy room that still echoed with Tommy's laughter from better days, him strumming that beat-up Fender, belting out Springsteen like he was born in the Jersey Pines instead of a Logan Square hospital. Mom recovered first, her socialite poise snapping back like a rubber band. You foolish girl. You think forwarding some juvenile scribbles will stick? Those files are forgeries, Tommy's fantasy, born from your poison. My poison. I laughed, bitter as black coffee from a Greek diner on Rush Street. Like the kind you two brewed for decades? Dad, remember '85? When you loaned Uncle Ray that seed money for his import business. The one that turned out to be smuggling knockoff Rolexes through the ports? I was 12, covering for you at Aunt Edith's, when the feds came sniffing. Said you were at the club. Kept your nose clean while I learned to lie like a pro. Dad's eyes narrowed, that cold blue steel I'd inherited, but never wielded half as ruthlessly. Family protects family, Lila. You benefited, private schools, the Volvo at 16.
Ungrateful brat.
Ungrateful. The word they'd branded me with since the cradle. Born to Eleanor and Harlan Whitaker, old money from the stockyards that morphed into hedge funds, I was supposed to be the debutante, the bridge to their social circle in the Gold Coast. Instead, I got knocked up by a line cook at Giordano's, sweet kid, but gone before the ink dried on the sonogram. They shipped me east, for the baby's good, but really to scrub the scandal before the Sun-Times Society page. Prison was the real education. Cell block wisdom from women who'd seen it all. Trust no one, especially blood. I emerged at 20, Tommy in a carrier, vowing independence. But they reeled me back, subsidized rent in Lincoln Park, advice on childcare that morphed into micromanagement. By Tommy's teens, it was weekly check-ins at their McMansion, Dad quizzing him on SAT prep while Mom critiqued my bohemian haircut. And the secrets? They piled like snowdrifts in a Chicago winter. Tommy's discovery last fall cracked it open. Dad's firm, Whitaker and Associates, wasn't just aggressive investments. It was a front for skimming union pensions, my union, the steelworkers who'd fought tooth and nail for those plans. Millions siphoned to offshore accounts, laundered through real estate flips in gentrifying hoods like Pilsen, where I'd bought my walk-up on a foreclosed whim. Tommy, idealistic as a Bernie rally kid, copied the drives during an internship summer. Confronted them. They flipped the script. Suddenly he was unstable, needing help. The intervention. The drink. The end. Now, as sirens wailed distant in the night, Chicago's lullaby, bluesy and ominous, the SUV's engine revved below, tires crunching gravel. My PI's warning echoed. Whitaker's got friends in low places, Lila. Old school. You poke, they bite. Time to go, I said, grabbing Tommy's leather jacket from the hook, the one with the Blackhawks patch he'd sewn on himself. Cops'll be here soon. Your mess, your cleanup. Mom blocked the door, arms crossed like a bouncer at the green mill. You're not leaving with that. It's evidence, stolen, probably. Sit down or so help me. Help you. I shoved her aside, gentle but firm, the way you'd nudge a drunk uncle at a wedding. She stumbled into Dad, who caught her with a glare that could curdle cream. You've helped enough. Remember the safety deposit? Box 472 at First Chicago.
Keys in my pocket now.
Ledgers don't lie, Harlan. Neither do wire receipts signed H. Whitaker to Cayman Trust. His bluff cracked then, a vein throbbing at his temple. You don't understand the game, Lila. It's bigger than us. Those unions? Corrupt as hell. I was cleaning house, redirecting funds to your yacht club/fund? I shot back, zipping the jacket over my thermal, the weight of its emptiness a gut punch. Save it for the judge. Tommy died for that game. Slipped a Mickey because he threatened to blow the whistle. And now you're evicting his ghost to cover tracks. The building shook, elevator dinging, heavy footsteps in the hall. Not cops, too deliberate, like linebackers and wingtips. The super's voice boomed. Mrs. Whitaker? You up here? Got visitors, fancy suits, a skin for Harlan. Dad paled, muttering shit under his breath. The first crack in his patrician armor. Mom whirled on me. This is your doing. You sick them on us. The feds? Or worse, the outfits collectors. Those ghosts Dad danced with for decades, trading tips on opportunities in the shadows of the loop. I bolted for the fire escape, window screeching open to the December chill, wind whipping off Lake Michigan like a slap from an ex. See you in court, mother. Or hell. Whichever comes first. Dad lunged again, grabbing the jacket sleeve. Lila, wait, we can fix this. Like always. Family first. I twisted free, fabric ripping, his plea hanging in the air like exhaust. Family first. The mantra that chained me, that killed my boy. No more. Dropping to the ladder, rungs icy under gloves, I hit the alley running, SUV's taillights vanishing around the corner, pursuit or paranoia. Heart slamming, I melted into the L train crowds at Addison, anonymous in the rush of Bears fans heading to the United Center, their cheers a mocking counterpoint to my warpath. Back in Pilsen, my apartment, a two-flat with peeling paint and radiators that clanged like a bad hangover, waited like a foxhole. I bolted the door, poured bourbon from the corner flask, neat, the burns steadying nerves frayed as old wiring. The PI called at 2 a.m., voice gravel from too many smokes. Files hit the tip lines. Feds are circling, quiet, but yeah. And Lila? Your old man's phone pinged a meet at the Billy Goat. Under the L tracks. Midnight tomorrow. With Vito's boys. You stirring a hornet's nest or what? Vito. The name slithered from mob lore, a don who'd retired to Florida but left tentacles in every ward. Dad's associate from the 80s deals. If Tommy's death was no accident, Vito's shadow loomed large, silencing loose ends with efficiency that made headlines disappear. I hung up, staring at the cracked mirror over the sink, my reflection a stranger. Crow's feet from mill shifts, hair streaked gray like Chicago asphalt after rain. 42 years old. And for what? To be the family scapegoat, the disposable daughter?
No.
Tomorrow, I crash that meet. Not with a crowbar, but with proof. A recorder in my coat, questions sharp as switchblades. Force Dad to flip or fall. But as sleep clawed at me on the lumpy futon, doubt whispered, what if they flip you? What if the game's rigged, and you're just the next mark? Morning broke gray, coffee bitter as regret. Union Hall first, grab my check, chat up Mikey the steward about sick days. Then gear up, burner phone, fake plates on the Civic from a chop shop contact. Standard op for a girl raised on South Side survival. By dusk, I tailed Dad's Escalade from Oak Brook, weaving through snarl on the Dan Ryan, horns blaring like accusations. He parked under the L at Lower Wacker, that underworld vein where deals die quiet. Billy Goat's neon flickered, but he ducked into the shadows, alley reeking of piss and spilled duffs. I killed the engine 2 blocks off, hood up against the sleet, slipping close. Voices low, urgent, Dad's polished baritone clashing with gravelly Chicagoese. That the girl's unhinged Vito. Sent files. Feds'll sniff soon.
Pause.
Then a laugh like grinding gears. Harlan, you old fox. Thought you buried that kid deep. Now daughter's exhuming? Sloppy. My blood froze. Buried. Not accident. Intent. I edged closer. Phone recording. Pulse thundering. This was the shadow gathering. Truth's ugly underbelly. And I was diving in headfirst. The alley's damp chill seeped through my parka, turning breath to fog that danced with the L train's rumble overhead, a mechanical heartbeat to this clandestine confab. I crouched behind a dumpster, overflowing with tavern trash, the stench a brutal reminder of how low we'd sunk, Whitaker blood reduced to skulking like junkies in a John Hughes nightmare gone noir. Dad's voice carried, laced with that false bravado he peddled at country club mixers. Vito, I handled it. The boy was a loose end, rattling on about justice, like some millennial crusader. Slipped him a little something at the apartment, made it look like his usual folly. Clean, quiet. But Lila, she's got the box key. Copies. If she talks. Vito's reply slithered out, thick as lake effect fog, from a silhouette broad as a bear's D-line, cigar smoke curling like a devil's halo. Your spawn's got your balls, Harlan. Always did. Remember '03? When she took the fall for your pension skim. Thought that'd break her. Made her, eh? Now she's comin' for seconds. My stomach lurched, ball rising sharp. Confirmation. Not just suspicion. The cold calculus of patricide, grandfather against grandson. All for a ledger line. Tommy, my fierce-hearted boy with his ironic tattoos and dreams of indie films, reduced to loose end. I gripped the phone tighter, red light blinking accusation in my palm. Dad chuckled, nervous, forced, like a used car salesman peddling lemons.
She'll fold.
Always does. Blood's thicker. I'll offer her a cut, quiet money, new start in Phoenix or some Sunbelt shitshow. Away from the unions, the prying eyes. Vito's shadow shifted, gold pinky ring glinting under a sodium lamp.
Generous.
But my boys? They don't like pokes. That tip line hit? Traced to her IP already.
Clean it, Harlan.
Or we do for a price. The flip. It was happening right there in the underbelly of the second city, Dad trading loyalty like stocks on a bad day. From protector to pawn, selling me out to save his skin. I should have charged then, recorder blazing, but legs rooted like concrete pilings. This was the fracture's fault line, widening to swallow us all. They clasped hands, deal sealed in flesh and favors. Vito's laugh booming as Dad slunk back to his ride. I waited, counting breaths till the alley cleared, then tailed Vito's crew. 2 goons in members-only jackets, piling into a town car that purred south toward Little Italy. Sleep was a joke that night, replaying the audio on loop in my kitchenette, bourbon chasing ghosts. By dawn, resolve hardened like rebar in a pour, no quiet money, no exile. Full exposure. But smart. Loop in the feds anonymously first, drop the recording to a burner Dropbox for the PI to forward. Then confront Mom. She was the fulcrum, the one who'd always played both sides, whispering manipulations while baking apple pies, laced with arsenic advice. I hit her Pilates class in River North, that upscale studio where influencers sweat for the gram, all Lululemon and green juices. She emerged, aglow in post-workout zen, chatting with her gaggle of Botox tens about the latest scandal, episode like real life was fiction. Mom, I said, stepping from the coffee cart shadows, voice steel wool rough. Walk with me. Her smile faltered, then plastered back. Pro smile, the one for awkward donor calls at the symphony. Lila? Darling, what a surprise. Coffee? My treat. We strolled Michigan Avenue, magnificent mile magic mocking our mundane malice, tourists snapping the bean, cabbies cursing gridlock, wind off the lake whipping scarves like nooses. Heard from Dad last night? I probed, casual as a chat about Cubs prospects. She sipped her latte. Oat milk, naturally, eyes scanning shop windows. Briefly. Business, you know. How's the situation? With Tommy's things. Situation. I barked a laugh. Call it what it is. Your husband's murder cover-up. I have the tape, Mom. Vito under the L, Dad admitting he dosed Tommy to silence him. Your perfect life? Crumbling like Ryerson steel in the 80s Rust Belt. Her step hitched, heel catching a sidewalk crack. Omen or irony?
Lies.
Harlan would never. Save the denial. It's your script, remember? The one you fed me in visiting hours. It'll blow over, dear. Sign the plea, and we'll make it right. I stopped under the Picasso sculpture in Daly Plaza, its twisted faces mirroring our own. You knew about the skim then.
Push me to take the fall.
Kept Dad's hands clean for your galas and golf outings. Tears welled. Crocodile, probably, but they gleamed genuine in the noon sun. I was protecting us. All of us. The scandal would have destroyed everything, your future, Tommy's. We gave you a life. A life. Fury crested, hot as a Bessemer furnace. I gave up college, clawed for every shift while you grandmothered from afar, judging my choices. And Tommy? You let Dad poison him because he found the ledgers. Your ledgers, Eleanor. Signed checks to Vito Shellcore. She whirled, clutching my arm, nails digging like accusations. He was out of control, ranting about exposing corruption, dragging our name through the mud. We tried talking sense, but he threatened the police. Harlan. Improvised. For the family. Improvised. Euphemism for murder, served Midwestern polite. The flip again, Mom, the enabler, now apologist, twisting victim to villain. Family, she pressed, voice dropping conspiratorial. Join us, Lila. We can bury this. Vito's amenable for price. Walk away rich.
Or
Don't. But think of the cost. The offer hung, tempting as forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden, repackaged as a Gold Coast condo. Quit the mill. Vanish to Scottsdale. Let the ghosts haunt someone else. But Tommy's eyes, those wide, trusting blues, flashed in memory his last text. Mom, they're monsters. But you're my hero.
no.
Tell Dad the price is truth. Full confession, or the tape drops public, CNN, TikTok, the works. Your call. I left her there, statue still amid the pigeon scrum, dialing as I melted into the crowd. Feds got the file by 3 p.m., anonymous, untraceable. Then home, to wait. The knock came at midnight, insistent, like fate with a warrant. Not cops. Dad, alone, rain-slicked and haggard, tie askew like a noose half-tied. Lila, he started, no preamble, collapsing onto my thrift store couch. It's bad. Vito's spooked, sent muscle to the office. Feds raided the house at dawn. Mom's lawyered up, singing like a canary to save her ass. Schadenfreude soured quick. This was the flip's fallout. Alliances shattering like cheap crystal at a mob wedding. Good, I said, pouring him scotch he didn't deserve. Confess. End it. He downed it, eyes wild. Can't. Vito'll kill us.
But you.
You could testify. Immunity. Take the family down. Rise as the whistleblower. Book deal. TED Talk. Hero's arc. The offer twisted, him flipping me as bait. Cunning bastard. Always 3 moves ahead. But I saw the out. Play along. Feed the feds crumbs. Let Vito's web tangle them all. Deal. I lied. Clinking glasses. Family first. As he left, tail lights fading into the storm, I texted the PI. Green light. Full court press. The shadows were gathering, but now they bowed to me. Or so I thought. Dawn broke bloody over the skyline. Horizon streaked like a bruise from a bar fight gone south. I hadn't slept, pacing my pills and perch, radio crackling with WBBM updates. Federal raids in Lake Forest this morning. Whitaker and associates under investigation for money laundering. Sources say ties to organized crime. Mom's face flashed on the screen later, composed in a Chanel suit outside the federal courthouse. No comment, but that icy stare screaming volumes. Dad's flip had accelerated the avalanche. By noon, my inbox, burner, of course, overflowed. Reporters sniffing, union brothers cheering. About time those fat cats paid. Even a tentative feeler from a Netflix true crime producer. Hero's arc, he called it.
Yeah, right.
Heroes don't wake sweating from dreams of their son's slack-jawed corpse, the noose of family first, tightening eternal. The mill shift called, foreman barking about overtime, but I called in my chips. Personal, I said, voice steady as a laser level. Truth was, the reckoning brewed hotter than a ladle of molten slag. Vito's crew wouldn't wait for indictments. They moved on whispers, and mine echoed loud. PI confirmed at lunch, meeting in a Humboldt Park talk area where the owl pastor sizzled distraction. Feds got warrants for the box, your name's on it, Lila, but they're treating you golden. Witness, not suspect. Harlan's spilling partials. Pins the skim on dead partners, Vito as consultant. Mom's playing dumb. I shopped, that's all. But the tape?
Gold.
They're building Rico.
Rico.
The racketeering hammer, federal kryptonite for wise guys. And Vito. He shrugged, salsa dripping from a chip.
Slippery.
Holed up in a Gold Coast penthouse, bodyguards thicker than O'Hare traffic. Word is he's offering bounties, quiet ones. Your dad's name topped the list till he flipped.
Now?
Yours.
Bounty.
The word landed like a gut shot from a .38. I pushed away the plate, appetite fleeing south. Then we hit first. Tonight. I want in. He eyed me, crow's feet deepening. Civilian?
Nah.
Let the badges.
No.
I leaned in, voice whip crack. This is personal. Tommy's justice. Reluctance cracked under my glare. Union solidarity, maybe, or pity for the widow in waiting.
Fine.
Stakeout only. 8 p.m., corner of Rush and Superior. Bring coffee, not heroics. The day dragged, a molasses crawl of errands. Notary for Tommy's will, apartment to a youth shelter, screw their seizure. A stop at the Polish deli for pierogies I'd never eat. Grave marker deposit at Queen of Heaven. Irony, burying saints among sinners. Dusk fell early, December's bite sharpening to knife edge. I parked the Civic 2 blocks from the mark. The Carlisle, doormen in livery eyeing the riffraff, valets circling like sharks. PI's unmarked sedan idled curbside, his nod pulling me in. Scope, he muttered, handing binoculars. Through the lobby glass, Vito holding court in the lounge, Silver Fox in a silk robe, dames on either arm, goons at the bar nursing McAllens. Dad was there too, perched on a stool, gesticulating wild, the flip in full swing, informant to insider, trading secrets for sanctuary. Talking terms, PI grunted. Vito's buying time, maybe flipping Harlan back. Feds listening. Wire. I confirmed, tapping my own slimline recorder from Radio Shack days, hungry for more dirt. But as I watched, Dad's hand dipped, subtle, into his jacket. Pulling a flash drive? Hand off to a goon, who pocketed it smooth as a pickpocket on the L.
Betrayal encore.
Whatever was on that drive, my files. Forged alibis. It reeked of sabotage. He's burning me, I whispered, rage coiling like a spring in a coil gun. PI's radio crackled. Feds inbound. SWAT, 10 out. Time compressed. I bolted from the car, hood up, weaving pedestrian throng, yuppies from the House of Blues, laughing oblivious. Into the lobby, pulse symphonic with panic, recorder live. Vito. I barked, voice carrying over jazz piano tinkles. Head swiveled, dames gasping, goons rising like Avengers in a Scorsese flick. He turned slow, cigar paused mid-puff, eyes appraising, amusement, then ice. Well, if it ain't the Whitaker Wildcat. Harlan's girl.
Drink.
Dad froze, color draining like milk from a spill. Lila? Get out now. Too late. The flip's apex, me, crashing the den, forcing hands. No more games, Vito. Tommy's dead because of your consults. Dad's drive? It's trash. Feds have the real deal. Rico's coming. Testify or rot. Gasps rippled. Goons closed in, meaty paws flexing. Vito chuckled, deep and damning. Balls on ya, kid. But wrong play. Your pop here's flipping again gave me the kid's originals. Proof you're the forger. The vengeful bitch framing family.
Cops'll buy it.
Tragic. Daughter kills for inheritance. The room spun. Dad's eyes, guilty flicker, then steel. Survival, Lila. You taught me that in prison letters, preaching resilience. Now apply it.
Betrayed.
Again. The drive was my undoing. Counterfeit evidence, him playing both ends to Vito's middle. Mom's silence?
Complicity.
The whole web spun to ensnare me as the spider. Sirens wailed distant, SWAT's approach. Goons grabbed me, rough, but Vito waved them off. Let her run, boys. Let the night swallow her lies. I wrenched free, bolting for the service door. Kitchen clatter, busboys scattering like pigeons. Out back, into the alley's maw, sleet stinging like judgment. PI's car idled, door yanking open. Drive. Tires screamed, merging into lakeshore chaos. He flipped me. I gasped, fumbling the recorder, still rolling. Vito's confession captured. Your pop here's flipping again.
Proof.
Counterproof. The scales tipped wild, no side clean. We ditched the tail at Montrose Harbor, waves crashing fury below. Feds'll sort it, PI said, dropping me at a safe house motel off Irving Park. Anonymous. Cash only. The kind where dreams go to die. Curled on musty sheets, TV droning indictments, doubt nod. Was the revenge mine, or just another flip in their game? Tommy's face smiled from my phone, frozen in youth. For him, I'd burn it down. But as Feds knocked at dawn, badge flashing, Ms. Whitaker? We need to talk. The reckoning hit home. Not triumph. Reckoning. The motel room smelled like stale smoke and regret, the kind that clings to polyester bedspreads in no-tell joints off the Kennedy Expressway. Agent Ramirez, late 30s, sharp suit, sharper eyes, the Fed stereotype minus the donut bias, sat across the wobbly table, notepad poised like a guillotine. His partner, a stone-faced woman named Kowalski, loomed by the door, arms crossed, blocking my only exit besides the fire escape I'd cased on arrival. Ms. Whitaker, Lila, we've got your files, the recording. Solid work. Your father's in holding, singing a different tune by the hour. Vito Moretti? Picked up an hour ago, courtesy of your tip. But we need your side.
Full.
Was the drive handoff last night part of the play? Entrapment setup. I sipped the vending machine coffee, bitter as betrayal, buying seconds to parse the maze. Dad's flip, Vito's counter, Mom's silence. It was a hydra, heads multiplying with every chop. Entrapment?
No.
That was him burning me, forging evidence to paint me as the vengeful killer. Tommy's death? Their do-over on the '03 scam. I was just the messenger. Ramirez nodded, pen scratching rhythmic. We believe you.
Partially.
But here's the rub. Tommy's talk screen? Clean of sedatives. Fentanyl only, street grade, no pharma traces. And those ledgers? Partials match public records, but the big fish?
Shells traced to you.
Union reimbursements, mill slush. Looks like you were skimming too, Lila. Covering for boy. The room tilted, coffee sloshing hot on my hand.
Me?
Skimming? The accusation landed like a blindside from a steel beam.
What?
No, I welded straight, every shift. Tommy wouldn't. Kowalski slid a folder across, photos spilling. Bank statements in my name, transfers from the Union Pack to Cayman Echoes. Dates synced with my loans from Dad, the ones I'd used for Tommy's rehab stints, his film school apps. But twisted, laundered through his web. Follow the money, she said, voice flat as a slab. Your boy's emails? Not just whistleblowing. Blackmail. He found your cuts, confronted you. That intervention? Him begging you to stop. You flipped, dosed him to shut it. Dad covered, thinking blood debt.
Vito?
Unwitting pawn.
Twist.
The knife's vicious turn, carving reality to ribbons. My mind reeled. Tommy's rants last year. Mom, the accounts are weird. Dad's involved, but you signed off. I'd laughed it off, buried under overtime fog. But the checks? Yeah, I'd endorsed them, blind to the strings. Union perks Dad funneled, me the unwitting mule.
No, couldn't be.
But the evidence stacked, bricks in a wall closing fast. He was clean, I whispered, photos blurring through tears. My boy. Ramirez softened, fractionally. Overdose happens.
But murder?
That's life, Lila.
Or cut a deal.
Testify against Harlan, Eleanor. Vito's crew crumbles, without Whitaker glue. You walk, probation maybe.
Iro, sorta.
Hero. The word mocked, echoing Dad's oily pitch. Flip or fall. Join the choir of informants, trade truth for freedom. Let the narrative paint me gray. Flawed mom, not monster. But Tommy's text burned fresh. You're my hero. If I'd killed him, unwitting, desperate, what redemption? Burn it all, or salvage ashes. I need time, I said, voice cracking like thin ice on the Chicago River. They left cards, promises of 24 hours. Door clicked shut, leaving me with the ghosts. Dad's pleas, Mom's tears, Vito's laugh. I grabbed the burner, dialing the PI, last lifeline. It's fucked, Lila. Feds looped me in. Those transfers? Your Sig Tommy knew. Tried protecting you, dummy. Confronted Harlan alone. That's why the dose. You weren't the mark. You were the blind spot. Blind spot. The twist's cruel grace. Innocence and ignorance, but complicit still. I'd borne their sins, but so my own. Greed masked as grit, family help as handcuffs. Sirens wailed anew outside, routine or raid. No time. I bolted, Civic roaring to life, heading north to the lakefront, waves churning turmoil mirror. Queen of Heaven waited, Tommy's plot fresh dug, marker stark. Thomas Whitaker Lopez.
Belovedson.
Fighter. I knelt in the slush, fingers tracing letters, confessions spilling silent. Forgive me, kid. For not seeing. For the chains I dragged you through. Phone buzzed, Ramirez. Deals on table. Harlan flipped full. Names you clean. Mom too. Walk away. The final flip. Dad cornered, sacrificing narrative to save me. Blood's last gasp. Vito indicted on the tape alone. Empire crumbling. Justice, Pyrrhic. But as snow fell soft, blanketing sins I chose. Testify. Not for hero's arc, but truth's ragged edge. No one clean, me, them, the system that birthed it all. Readers, jurors, the world. Pick sides, debate the grays. Was it murder, accident, systemic rot? Hero, villain, victim? I rose, pocketing the card, walking into the whiteout. Chicago swallowed me whole, tense, unyielding. Revenge? A hollow echo. But reckoning? That lingered, divisive as a hung jury. Months blurred, trials in the Dirksen, headlines screaming, family feud turns fatal. Windy City dynasty implodes. Dad got 20, white-collar wing, golf on weekends. Mom, 10, community service at the symphony, ironies encore. Vito, life, no parole.
Me?
Probation, book deal I donated, union rep gig pushing pension reform. Tommy's apartment? Sold to the shelter, plaque in his name, for the fighters. I visit Sundays, crowbar scars on the door a badge. Happy? Tragic? You decide. In America's grind, lines blur, betrayal's currency, revenge's fool's gold. But in the quiet, when the L rattles past, I hear him. You're my hero, Mom. Maybe. Or maybe just human. Flawed as the skyline, standing tall through the storm.